Okay, I don't normally do pre-built systems, but I thought this one would be pretty cool. This is one we took a look at here from Digital Storm. It's gonna be kind of sort of an unboxing and overview, a little bit of performance. But this guy right here, although it probably looks like a monitor, oh yeah, it's so much more than that. Dude, right, this is the best part right here. Watch this, watch this.
Guys, this new Celsius S36 from Fractal Design.
Yeah, so?
But do you know what it does?
Yeah, it makes things cool.
Yeah, cooler.
Hey guys, this is Austin, and today I am super excited to be doing a video with the one and only JayzTwoCents. Yo, I am excited, man. So what are we doing?
Today, we're gonna review the Celsius S36. I get that a lot. Terry, what's up? Sure, I could give you some workout tips. How's tomorrow sound? Awesome. Later. So cool. I'm so cool.
The new Celsius S36 can make almost anything cooler. Almost.
I'm so cool. So cool.
I did some research of how to unbox things. You know that their Linus Tech Tips channel sure came up a lot. Oh boy, something stuck. A spiky thing. Box of accessories. Trust me, that was just as painful to watch as it was for me to do it. So this is the Digital Storm Aura. Basically, this is not your typical AIO, okay? So this is an all-in-one PC, and there's nothing new about that. We've seen these for a long time from companies like HP. I think even Gateway did this way back in the day. But Digital Storm is packing a lot of punch into this unit here. So if we just kind of stick this face down here for a second, guys, don't cringe. I promise it's not under any stress here. We have got a lot of hardware packed into this. And how do you open the back? Pretty neat. A lot of you guys thought I was embellishing in my bad unboxing abilities in the Threadripper video. Yeah, no. I just suck. All right, I'm not even positive that this is the way it comes apart. But I guess we're gonna find out, because I want to open the back of this sucker up. There we go, look at that. So there's an idea of the amount of cooling built into the back of this. Look at all this ventilation right there. And look at all of this crammed into here. So here's what makes the Aura different than a lot of other AIO PCs in the past is we have got full-blown desktop components crammed into this. ITX motherboard, a full-blown GTX 1080 desktop GPU, not some sort of a mini card. I mean, literally, if you were to take apart an ITX small form factor build and shove it into a monitor, this is what you get. All right, so what do we get in the box here? Looks like we've got some RGB cables there. Looks like we've got another fan. Looks like we got another exhaust fan. I'm not sure where this goes though. We've got, of course, some MSI stickers because we do have an MSI board in here. We've also got a notebook with all of our information. Probably something I could have read first to figure out how to take the damn thing apart. Setup instructions, all your driver discs. This is pretty neat. All of your support information is all put right here, as well as your certificate of ownership. So this is gonna be all of your support. Some more SATA cables here, another hold down of some sort. Our power cable. Oh, look at that. We've got a USB. So this is what the USB on the top is for. We've got a built-in webcam. Look at that. So you can put that into the top of the monitor, and then you've got a webcam. I don't know much of the specs about it. It's probably gonna be a 1080p. That's pretty neat. So that's proprietary. One thing that's really impressive to me though is the way that they have managed all of these cables in this. I mean, this would be a nightmare if you tried to take standard cable length and fit this in here. I'm not sure you even could. So all of the cable lengths on this are custom, so everything's nice and neat and airflow is optimal. Now, some of you might have been cringing that I put this face down because you're like, oh my God, you don't put a curved panel face down because of the flex. But that's where the other thing that impresses me here is the build quality. This thing has a very rigid metal frame. So there is no flex in this when you put it face down. If you watch, when I put it down, there is like no flex in that. It is extremely, extremely tough. And the weight is definitely reminiscent of that. I don't know how much it weighs, but this thing is pretty heavy. So before we start gaming on this, let's just kind of go through the specs real quick. It's got an i7 7700K on an MSI Z270i Pro Carbon Mini ITX motherboard with a custom built AIO water cooler specifically for this application. So it pulls the air in here and it exhausts it up towards the atmosphere, which is perfect, through this really thin radiator right here. I don't know what the surface area of this rad is, so we'll definitely be interested in taking a look at what the temperatures are. We've got a blower style GTX 1080 in here, not a TI, but a 1080 that's got a riser card so that they can orient this the way they want. So again, it pulls air in through the back of the panel and exhausts it down. I kind of feel like it might have made sense to exhaust it up, just like we're doing here, because this is gonna hit the bottom of your desk and this is gonna heat up your space. If you've got a keyboard under this, I'd be concerned about that. They do have this riser card, or this riser cable right here, so this plugs into the HDMI and it goes right over there. So since they're using this cable, I guess I don't see why they couldn't have flipped this around the other way and then ran the cable internally to make the exhaust make more sense. So again, I'll be curious to see how that works out. We've got another exhaust fan running right here that exhausts air out the top. So again, why I would have liked to have seen the card flipped around. So we've got three-way speakers right here that are rear fire. So we'll be interested in how those sound. And yeah, I guess the only thing I feel that's a little bit lacking in this is the power supply. It's only a 450 watts, so that means we can't really upgrade our graphics card to a 1080 Ti or anything like that because this simply isn't going to be enough. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Oh, and then storage. We've got a 500 gigabyte Western Digital Blue SSD and a 1 terabyte 7200 RPM mechanical drive underneath that.
Motorcycles.
So let's go ahead and start with performance because I spent the last couple of hours playing around with this, doing some benchmarking, doing some temperature tests, and we'll start with the CPU. Now, I am actually pretty impressed with the temperatures that the really small AIO, and I have no idea what actual size that radiator is. It doesn't seem like the same amount of surface area as a 120, but then again, it's thicker. It's definitely proprietary to this build, but it seems to be doing the job because the 7700K, although a warm CPU by nature, is being kept around the mid 60s while running things like Cinebench back to back to back, trying to get the thing nice and warm. And even when you run something like AIDA64, it sticks right around the upper 70s to low 80s depending on the type of test that you're running. Now that's perfectly acceptable in my opinion given the size of the cooler and the form factor that we're dealing with here. But I think given the fact that this is all crammed into a monitor makes those temperatures perfectly acceptable. Now the GPU on the other hand, that's a little bit of a different story. I don't know if it's because of the orientation, like I mentioned, I think it should be exhausting the air up to be a little bit more natural and have a riser card designed for that. I know the PCI Express port is on the side facing the motherboard, but they still could have come up with some sort of device, I think, to reroute it, because I don't know if it's fighting the natural radiation of heat or heat wanting to rise, but our temperatures will reach whatever we put them at. So if I put the fan curve up and then even increase the temperature target to something like 92, we will reach 92C. Even right now, while we are doing the Heaven benchmark on loop, it is sitting at 84C because that is the default target temperature. And even if I increase the fan speed, it doesn't do a whole lot to reduce it below that temperature, which the Founders card can do. Now this is a blower style card, but it's a plastic shroud. I don't think it's a vapor chamber style cooler on the MSI blower cooler as like you would find on the NVIDIA card. So I think a future test I want to do is to put in my Founders 1080 and see if I get improved temperatures. So let's go ahead and talk about the panel, because that's obviously where you're going to spend all your time looking. It doesn't matter what's crammed in the back of it, you're looking at the front of it. It's a 34-inch ultra-wide 21:9 aspect ratio TFT panel. It's not an LED, it's not an IPS, it's an LCD TFT. Now the colors are not as vibrant or popping as much as a TN panel, but they definitely don't look bad. I mean, they might have a slight washed out look to them, which means you might want to add a little bit of saturation to it, but it's not going to give you the color accuracy of something like an IPS panel. So this is definitely not going to be the best solution for content creators, but it is a pretty good solution for people who have limited space. Now, it's also not necessarily the best panel for gamers either because it has no G-Sync or FreeSync technology built into it. It's a 60 Hz refresh rate with a 14 milliseconds response time, so it's not the fastest panel. And yeah, I think it's a really good middle ground because I think the issue with the panel is if they went with something like a Predator panel or something like the Asus panels or even the new ones that are 144 Hz or even 200 Hz, then I think the price would be way too high. But I think it does a really good job of walking the line and being kind of a jack of all trades. It's good at gaming, it's good at content creating, the temperatures are decent. Like I mentioned with the GPU, they could be better, but the temperatures are decent, and it doesn't have a huge footprint. If you have room for a 34-inch ultra-wide on your desk, but you don't have enough room for a tower, well, here you go. Now, the only drawback, though, to this stand is it's definitely got some tilt adjustment. I don't want to tilt it right now, but it's got tilt adjustment, but it doesn't have height adjustment and it doesn't have swivel. And the legs are actually made out of very sturdy, I think this is steel. Something I'm disappointed about though is that the stand doesn't have any sort of height adjustment. Given the fact that it's so low to the desk, it gives kind of an awkward viewing angle where you're looking down at your panel and it just doesn't feel right. I like to get my panels up right around eye level with wherever the surface is that I'm sitting at. So right now I would have wanted the panel to be right about here, at the top of the panel anyway, rather than right here. That way I'm looking straight on. So it doesn't have swivel or height adjustment, which are two things I would have liked to have seen. Anyway guys, time to go. Thanks for watching today's video about the Digital Storm Aura all-in-one PC. I think it does a really good job at speaking to a very broad spectrum of potential buyers. And you guys can sound off in the comments below and let me know what you guys think about this. And maybe we'll do a video about upgrading this in the future. As I said, it's advertised as being upgradable. Huge thank you to Digital Storm for sending this out. You guys can find the link to them down below or just head to digitalstorm.com. And also to tell me what you guys think about the new set. This is the first video we officially filmed in the workshop here, and I like the feel. This feels more right. Tell me what you guys think down below, and as always, I will see you in the next one.